Welcome back to another episode. No intro today. It's just hard into the music and then hearing my voice. We're back for week 14. Week 13 wasn't too bad for me. I went 9-6. I had one push. That push was the Buccaneers game. That ended at exactly 3 points. Bucks came out ahead. Those Cards, man, they got a little feisty, but the Bucks they needed some people in that game, and yeah, we'll see what the Bucks can do going forward. But that was the only push for the week. I'll tell you what, Thanksgiving was a great day for football, but not a good day for me. And in that sense, I went 1-2. I went 1-2. The only win for me was the Dallas Cowboys, which I had them over the Chiefs, and a lot of people are probably going to be like, why in the world did you pick the boys over the Chiefs? And I'll tell you what, the reason why is their defense. The defense is playing out of their mind, and George Pickens is there's no words to describe George Pickens. He's playing unbelievably well. I don't think he had got a touchdown in that game, but he had a lot of crucial catches. CeeDee Lamb actually outperformed him in that game. But Pickens isn't one that wants the limelight or anything like that. He just wants to go out there, put his work of art on the field, and just leave it there. But overall though, pretty good week. Still sitting at 54%. That's what we're looking at for the year. Out of all the games that I've picked all the way through the first 13 weeks, that's a pretty good feat. I wish it was better, but I mean I'm up anywhere from 4 to 6 units just flat betting each game. Like if you took each game that I gave, you'd be up roughly around 6 units. Is it a lot? No, it's not a lot, but you're not down, right? And I doubt anybody took every single, pick that I made. They probably cherry picked, here and there if anybody did, or if you look back. But from a standing total, we've done 188 games. 188 games. And out of those 188, I've correctly picked 101 of those. I don't know about you, but that's pretty good. Yeah, you're going to have the pundits out there and the critics that are going to be like, oh, why aren't you at a 60% clip or whatever? Yeah, sometimes I don't make the best ones, right? I kind of go with, what I'm feeling and not what I should do. Sometimes I go out on a limb. And we'll probably see some of those coming into week 14. But then again, you also have games that happen kind of like the Bengals and Ravens. Joe Flacco was coming back. Or not Joe Flacco, sorry. Joe Burrow was coming back. They're both Joes. But the Ravens are a better team. It was a high spread. Yeah, it was a high spread. But, the spread in that game didn't matter. The Ravens did not show up there, and, games like that get sprinkled in, and that definitely does hurt your percentage. Also, no matter what, at the end of the day, it affects your wallet too if you are placing money on any of these games, right? But we had a couple of those this week. The Rams versus the Panthers at 10.5. Come on, the Rams, that's a 14-point team there. Yes, Carolina has been on the uptick. They've been trending upwards as far as their play. They've been doing pretty well. But the Rams are a much better team. Stafford, he had a horrible day. I cannot stress that enough, how horrible Stafford had in that day. Oh, man. But, the Rams, that's a game the Rams should have put away. Now, if the Panthers were playing, the Jags or something like that, you could sit here and hear me say, well, Panthers might have a shot there. But this game is very misleading for the Panthers, very misleading for the Rams. I am still I'm still sold on the Rams, or I'm high on the Rams. I'm sorry. But, like, it's hard, though. It's hard because they've had a couple games that were kind of head scratchers. They should have beat Philly, right? In retrospect, the way Philly is playing, the Rams should have took that game from them. But there's a couple of games out there that are like that, like the Rams, that have me kind of questioning. I'll tell you one game: the Bills at the Steelers. The Bills ran away with that one for sure. But even though the Bills ran away, I'm not sold on them. I keep saying sold. I can't buy into that team just yet. Another game that got me was the Falcons and the Jets. The Jets definitely cleared that one. The Falcons are just turning into a dumpster fire. They're becoming what Miami should have been. Yeah, that's the Falcons. And in retrospect, I should have picked the Falcons instead of the Saints. Not the Falcons, I'm sorry, the Dolphins. The Dolphins came out on top versus the Saints. I thought the Saints were going to have a lot more fight in them. I was right about the Colts and the Texans. I mean, that Texans defense is no joke, guys. That Texans defense is no joke. And I said quarterback play really wasn't going to be a factor there, and that's 100% right. I mean, Texans defense is legit. The Jags and the Titans, the Jags, it's the Titans, man. It's the Titans. The Jags, you can't get high on the Jags just yet. You need to see more from them, right? The Niners and the Browns, it's the Browns versus the Niners. I mean, what more can you say there? That's an easy one, right? That's an easy one. I'd say one that a lot of people probably may not have gotten was the Bears and the Eagles. That was a 7-point spread, and I had the Bears. A nice little money line if you had boys and Bears again. That'd be a nice little money line right there. I don't know if anybody was going to take advantage of that or not, but the Bears are definitely a team to watch. I mean, they're currently top the NFC. Hey, news flash, right? Going into Week 14, the Bears are the Bears are the number one seed in the NFC. That is mind-boggling, but also not necessarily unexpected, right? Because we would expect the Eagles or the Rams to be the number one seed, right? But the way that the Bears have been playing, though, and it's not unexpected of Ben Johnson. I think it's more unexpected that Caleb Williams is playing the way that he is, but I attribute that a lot to Ben Johnson. And, of course, the Pack and the Lions. I mean, the Pack came out and they beat the Lions. Good job for the Pack. They finally came out and played a game, and they won. The Pack has not been consistent all year. The Lions at home, though, should have been better for the Pack. I know this is a division game, but, yeah. And we're going to get into the Lions game because that is tonight's game, which is Thursday. And that's going to be Cowboys versus the Lions. The spread there is 3.5. I like the spread there. I like it. I like it a lot. I wish there was a couple more points, though, because I would take money line here for Dallas. I'm riding Dallas again. I mean, it's hard not to ride Dallas in this spot. I mean, the Lions, are they going to lose again here? I mean, we're going to find out in a couple hours. But, it's hard to say. Dallas very well could lose, and it would be part of their mantra to lose. But I will say in the same breath, I mean, Dallas has played out of their mind the last 3 games. And they're due for some regression, right? But honestly, they just have to get over this hump. If they get over this hump, then they got a little bit of breathing room, and they can have the motivation to finish out the season. The next hard opponent will be the Chargers in 2 weeks. And it's going to be at home. So I would say I would say that Dallas is going to be all in on this game. It's a must-win game for Dallas. I would say that it would be a must-win game for the Lions too, but somehow, some way, Dallas is just really just going to make it more about them in this game. And if they do that, I'm starting to get a little bit more faith in Shoddy, a little bit more faith in that defense, and I have a lot of faith in that offense. And it's typically when we get to this point is when you get let down, your hopes get crushed. So against my better judgment, I'm going to continue to go with Dallas because that's what the trend is. You know, you ride the wave until it crashes, and then you jump off. Yeah, I'm going to stick with Dallas at plus 3.5 here. We got Miami versus the Jets. This is going to be an interesting game. It's a 3-point spread. And I got Miami, right? I don't trust the Jets doing anything, right? And I mean the Jets are they're something. The Jets are something. That's all I can say. Miami's they're in the same boat. Honestly, you could probably leave this game off of your picks. To be honest with you, I don't see the value really in picking either side, but the spread is 3, and Miami is the one that's favored, and they're the away team. I'm going to stick with Miami just because in this instance, I think Miami is the better team. I think that they have the better athletes and the better talent, and they both teams have momentum going into this game. I'm gonna go with Miami. I mean, to me, it's a coin toss, and when it's a coin toss, I just look at the rosters and I look at what the better team is, and I just go with that. You know, I think Miami wins here. At the very least, I'd pick Miami money line. But either way, though, this is one of those games that if you're trying to build it right, if you're trying to go and not go perfect of all the games, but trying to cherry pick games, like I'll probably leave this one off, right? My confidence meter is not very high on this one, but if I had to pick one, it's going to be Miami. And I would say the same thing with his next game, which is the Browns versus the Titans. I mean, the Titans they're coming into their groove a little bit. I mean, can you say that really though? I mean, they're playing football. They all should be in their groove. They're playing football, but the Browns, they have more. I would look at money line for the Browns here, or you buy. It's 4 points. Titans at the Browns. Browns are favored by 4. You can buy that down to a point, which basically puts you at a money line. So figure out which is more expensive, right? You doing your money line or going with the Browns winning by a point or 2.5. If you can get it down to a field goal, I think that's a little safer. If you can get it down to money line, I think that's even more safer. But if you can only get it down to a point, then maybe you can go for a push if it's a really close game. But I'll go with Browns. I mean, Shador is going to come out again. He's going to play against the Titans. This should be a game that we're gonna be able to tell whether or not Shador's got the offense or not based off of this game. I think it's going to be a great test for Sanders, which means it could be good football. And I mean, it's Sanders versus Ward, you know. In ideal world in college, that's what you would want to see. But in the pros, I don't think anybody's really wanting to see Sanders versus Ward. But guess what? We're going to get it on Sunday. So I got the Browns -4. Definitely one of those candidates to buy down or look at money line, though. We got the Steelers at the Ravens, and that spread's going to be 5.5. Ravens are going to be Ravens are favored by 5.5, and I'm going to go with the Ravens because I'm not sold on the Steelers. Right, the Steelers are not a team that I got a lot of faith in. They're very inconsistent. The defense is inconsistent. They just lost Darius Slay. They signed. Are they the team that signed Adam Thielen? I think they are. No idea where Rodgers' head is. I mean, They just got blown out, which would give them motivation to maybe win this one. But I mean, the Ravens. Let's talk about the Ravens versus the Bengals. That was a dumbass game. I think the Ravens should have won that, and I think the Ravens should win against the Steelers. Even if all they do is try to control the ball and run it, I think that the Ravens should be able to. What's going to get the Ravens, and that I've noticed this year, is it's the play of Lamar Jackson, and it's the decision making and the turnovers. That's the crux of the Ravens' problems is turnovers. I think that early in the year is fumbles by Derrick Henry and the rest of the team. And then you got fumbles. I mean, that's what doomed them against the Bengals. He had a weird play. It was a weird-ass play that happened in I forget what quarter. It might have been the first quarter or second quarter, maybe. I can't remember exactly when, but he went back to throw the ball, and it was fumbled right into a lineman's hands. And the lineman just walked it right into a touchdown because they're at the 5-yard line or 3 or 2 or whatever. Doesn't matter where they were. They're right next to the end zone. They could just walk it right in. I mean, that's the bad luck that the Ravens had. And then they also didn't capitalize on any mistakes that they were able to have the Bengals create. So it's not like the Bengals played amazing. The defense did because they kept creating turnovers. And Cincinnati's defense is dog shit this year. Plain and simple. They're not getting better. They're not getting worse either. And so the Ravens couldn't take advantage of that. I would say they're playing a better defense this game, against Pittsburgh. But they are playing probably a similar offense in the sense of how lack of scoring it is. It's not very – the defense should be able to take care of Pittsburgh's offense. But it's a big it's a big question mark because the Ravens haven't done it really all year. So they thought that when they got Lamar Jackson back that they'd be able to turn a switch, flip it on and roll. But it doesn't look to be that way so far. They've had more problems with Lamar Jackson back than they did before. Or at least the same. But I got the Ravens here at 5.5. Let's win by 6, win by a touchdown. Ravens, you can go ahead and keep trying to put a stronghold on the division there or climb up to it. But give me Ravens by 6. And we got the Seahawks at the Falcons. This game is the NFC West versus the NFC South, and the Falcons suck, dude. I mean, that's about as nice as I can put it for the Falcons. The spread here is 7. So I got Seahawks minus 7. I mean, how can I go against the Seahawks versus the Falcons? Yeah, do the Falcons have a good defense? 100% they have a good defense. Do they have a good offense? 100% no. No, they do not have a good offense. But what about Seattle? Seattle, on the other side, has a great offense and a great defense. So, I mean, just put that together. I mean, Seattle really they've struggled in a couple games this year, and that's it. So give me 7. I'll take 7. If it pushes, great, because it's a close game and they win by a touchdown, right? Because you're going to need 2 scores in order to win here. And I'm okay if it pushes. It doesn't bother me. I'm not going to add or subtract there for it. I'm not going to buy half of a point. I'll just give me Seattle minus 7 because I think that they'll win by more than that. And if they don't, so be it. It's the Seahawks. They're still going to be good. They're still going to make the playoffs, and they might do some damage. The Falcons, no. Sorry. You have the Colts at the Jags. This game's going to be interesting because you have a quarterback that's got a fractured fibula, right, and still playing. And you have the Jags who are just really underperforming so far this year. There's been questions because, I have Trevor Lawrence in one of my fantasy leagues. It's a dynasty. We got 2 quarterbacks. You got to play 2 quarterbacks. So, of course, someone's going to have Trevor Lawrence there. But it's hard. I also have Daniel Jones. And so you're trying to decide, am I going to play Trevor Lawrence or am I going to play Daniel Jones here? Daniel Jones and Trevor Lawrence are kind of the same at this point in the year. Daniel Jones started out hot. Trevor Lawrence started out cold. Now they all both seem to find their sweet spot, and they're averaging between like 19, 20 points a game in fantasy. This game is going to be interesting because both teams can play defense. The Colts have a better defense than the Jags, but the Jags can play defense. They can create turnovers. But Danny Dimes, he seems to protect the ball. But he's got receivers to throw to. In Jacksonville, they don't always take advantage of the opportunities that they get. The spread here is 1.5. So, I mean, it's interesting. That makes it very, very interesting. At 1.5, I kind of want to take the Colts, but then something tells me that the Jags might come here and the Jags might sneak one. God knows they need it. So give me the Jags plus 1.5 here. I think the Jags come out ahead, and maybe they make a statement against the Colts. I mean, the Colts weren't destined to win every single game this year. They were destined to kind of come back down to earth at some point, and maybe this game is one of those. So give me plus 1.5. I'll take the Jags. You got the Bears at the Packers. The Bears are not favored. The Packers are. And, oh, man. This one's tough, you know. This one, I say this about a lot of games. But just like I did with the boys, I'm going to ride with the Bears. Give me the Bears plus 6.5. I like the big spread here. Although the Packers probably will cover because the Packers are starting to click on all cylinders. You know that they're getting their receivers back. You know they don't have Kraft, right, and that is a pretty big hole. But yeah, I think the Bears cover though. I really like the Bears defense. I just know it's a divisional game, and when these games are kind of on the line, the Packers, they kind of close them out. I mean, look what the Packers did against the Lions, though. I mean, they only won by 3. In any case, though, I mean, I think the Bears got it at 6.5. That means that the Packers are going to have to win by a touchdown. So, you know, I mean, this could be one that you could take advantage and increase, right? And increase it. But hell, you know, you want to get crazy, look at the money line. You want to get real risky. But yeah, just, I mean, you know, take a glance at it, you know. We got the Saints at the Bucks. This is a typical NFC South game, you know. The Bucks are doing good. As long as Baker's playing, I mean, Godwin should be out there. Mike Evans obviously out for the year, right? You're missing him. You got Edguba. White played last week. Is Bucky Irvin back? You know, it doesn't matter because you still got Sean Tucker. I'm gonna take the Bucks here because they're favored by 8.5, and it's against the Saints. I just think that the Bucks are just gonna have a ton of offense here, and I think with a ton of offense and not a lot of defense on the Saints side. I mean, the Saints are injury depleted. The season is a wash. The season really is just for the coach and the team to kind of align and get used to each other. I mean, the season's done for them. The Bucks, they still have stuff to fight for. Do they win by 9 though? I mean, that is tough. I have the Bucks at 9, so or 8.5. So yeah, keep them there. Keep them there. Bucks could win by 20, but don't quote me on that, right? Because I'm sticking with 8.5. We had Denver at Vegas. This is a game that I don't like. Denver's favored by 7.5. It's in Vegas. Denver plays every single team close, except for the Cowboys, right? They haven't really blown anybody out. Teams that they should have. You know, I mean, last week it was the Commanders. I was about to say the Redskins. It's the Commanders. They played the Commanders, and they won by a point in overtime. That game was tracking. 100% to hit the under. And then the second half comes along, and it was what, 27-26, I think it was. And they scored all those points. It's mind-boggling how Denver plays. It really is. You allow Marcus Mariota to get a final play on you, and you win by 1 point. In my head, it's like you deserve to lose at that point, right? Denver is a much better team than what their differential states, right? It's mind-boggling. And here they are favored by 7.5. And I immediately want to say, no, they need to be favored by 3. I don't care if it's the Raiders. I don't care if it's the Cardinals. I don't care if it's the Dolphins. I don't care if it's the Falcons. I don't care if it's the Jets. I don't care if it's the Saints, if I already said them or not. They need to not be favored at all in any of these games. Well, I can't say that because they win. They find a way to win. They just don't score a lot of points. Are they going to win by 7.5 here? I don't know, man. I don't know. 7.5 is a lot. So that's one that I would probably buy down to get out of the 7. I want that within a touchdown, if I could, I'd buy it down to 2.5. And watch, that's the game that they blow them out at. The Raiders suck big time, but this is a divisional game too, and that doesn't go well with the 7.5 either. But I would look to get that number down as far as I can. I don't like the 7.5, but I'm going to ride with them. But don't be surprised if I come back and say that I bought it down to 6 or 6.5 or whatever, right, to get it within a touchdown. You got the Rams at the Cards. The Rams last week, I already touched on it. Rams versus the Panthers. That was a dumb game. Did not like it. The Rams, do not expect a repeat here. The spread here is 8. And so, I'm going to stick with the Rams here. And if you want to get, this is another candidate to buy down as well. If you want to buy this one down too to be safe or to feel more comfortable with it, the Rams should take care of the Cards 100%. The Cards, they're a little frisky, right? They can provide some drama in the game, but the Rams, they do play defense. They have a good defense. And if Matthew Stafford can stop turning the ball over, it seems like he does it once a game a year. So he just did it. He got it out of his system last game. So hopefully it doesn't happen again against the Cards. But, they should win by double digits against the Cards. So, I'm not really scared of the 8, but this is potentially another game that you could do that with. Then next we have the Bengals at the Bills. Joe Burrow got acclimated, right? He's got one game back. This right here is, I'm not going to say it's a rivalry game, but these two teams don't like each other. I'm not necessarily buying into the Bills because they're so inconsistent this year, and they do have injuries. They do have some injuries. But the spread here is 5.5. The Bills are obviously favored. And I'm gonna go with the Bengals here plus 5.5. And this is another one that if you're taking the Bengals or even if you're taking the Bills, look at both of those teams and you can go up or down on that spread by 3 points, or whatever you like, but it's got to be within 3. Do an alternate spread there, buy it down or buy it up depending on where you are. But I'm probably gonna take the Bengals, and you could put that up at 8.5. So that makes it a 2-score game. And you got to ask yourself, are the Bills really going to win by 2 scores? Or if you're on the Bills side, you could buy it down if you want, but buying it down the most would it would get you at 2.5 and make it a field goal game. That could be worth it. But honestly, I think the Bengals might win it. Actually, it would be a typical Bills season this year if the Bengals win it. So I'm gonna take the Bengals plus 5.5. Come time if I see that something looks favorable with it, I might do something with the points. But give me the Bengals. You got the Texans at the Chiefs. This is, I think the Chiefs are better than the Colts, right? And they both can play defense, but the Texans, they can't really play offense, and the Chiefs can. I think, this is a 3-point game, and it should be. This is the spread that it should be. I would say more like 2.5, but, I could see the Chiefs winning by 3 here. I would also take Chiefs money line. And because, the Texans' luck is going to run out. It really is. They're not a team built to win or sustain a winning streak. They're just not. Even if C.J. Stroud is back and he's playing, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter with the Texans at the Chiefs. The Chiefs are the better team. And so they also should be motivated by the loss to the Cowboys. So I would say that the Chiefs come out here and they win. Andy Reid is a good enough coach to get that back on track and beat this defense. So give me the Chiefs by 3, and hopefully they win by 6. And then the last game to cap off the week is going to be the Eagles at the Chargers. This one is interesting. It's a 2.5-point game here. The Eagles at the Chargers. I want the Chargers to win just because, being a Cowboys fan, I want the Chargers to win. However, I don't think it's going to happen. I think the Eagles are going to win. I think that the Eagles defense, shit. Am I going to change this on air? I don't know. I just don't trust the Chargers offense. That's the problem. I just don't trust the Chargers offense. And that's really the crux of it is, do I trust the Chargers offense enough to pick them at a 3-point, be within 3 points of the Eagles? And that oh man, that is such, yeah. So, the Chargers are 5-2 at home, and Philly is 4-2 on the road. Chargers are 5-6-1 versus the spread, and the Eagles are 7-5. The last 10, they're both 6-4 in the last 10 games. Yeah, it is. Eagles are on a 2-game losing streak. Losing to the Bears, that I will say that is a shock, them losing to the Bears. They should have beat the Bears, but they just did not play good enough. The Chargers, they blew out the Raiders, but that's what they're supposed to. But they lost to the Jags 35-6. They had a 3-game winning streak against Minnesota, Tennessee, and Pittsburgh. You should. They lost to the Colts. They beat Miami. They lost to Washington. They lost to the Redskins. And they beat Denver. It's tough. And then upcoming, the Chargers, they have the Chiefs, Dallas, and then Houston. Oh, man. It's hard. It's just really hard to back the Chargers. It really is. Whereas you have the Eagles that beat the Packers, they beat the Lions, they beat Tampa Bay, they beat the Rams, they lost to Denver, they lost to Dallas, and they lost to Chicago. And, this makes it tough. It really does. I originally have the Eagles -3 or -2.5. And I think that's really just probably what it's going to have to stay with, because I don't have enough faith in the Chargers. I think the Chargers just have too many injuries. I think Quentin Johnson is questionable now. And then, no idea. I think O'Marion wants to get back. I think his window got opened to practice. And you also have Herbert that's got a plate in his non-throwing hand, so, and he expects to play on Monday. I want the Chargers to win. That's what I want, but I just don't think it's going to happen. So, yeah, I'm going to take Eagles -2.5. And, yeah, that's just what, I'm going to have to ride with that. And that's one that I'm okay. If I'm wrong, I'm okay. I'm okay with that. The reason why is because I want to be wrong in that, but I don't have enough confidence to take the Chargers in there. And like I said, week 13, Thanksgiving kind of sucked. Outside of the Cowboys, it sucked. The Ravens, Rams, Falcons, and Denver, not in a good way. They all surprised, right? The Rams should have won. The Ravens should have won. The Falcons, what are you doing against the Jets, right? And then Denver, what kind of game was that? I can't buy into the Eagles, Bills, Broncos, Ravens, or the Chiefs, even though I picked the Chiefs and the Ravens and the Eagles and the Broncos. Even though I picked all of those teams this week, I'm not confident in them. I don't trust those teams. But the Bears, Patriots, Cowboys, and the Seahawks, those teams I am. I can put a stamp on them and say, you know what? I'm fully confident in you. Now, I mean, I'm not as confident with the Cowboys because, 3 games isn't going to be enough of a selection to say, you know what? You're going to win it, man. No, that's not. No, I'm sorry, but they're getting there. They're getting there. They had such a horrible first part of the season, and now they're starting to gel together, and they have that defense coming back. And I think that I'm looking forward to seeing that game tonight. But all in all, though, that's what I got. So I'm going to run through what I have real quick again, and I'm not going to talk about where I would buy or where I wouldn't. I'm just going to have them to where whatever it is today, and I'm going to let you know what I got. But week 14, I got Dallas plus 3.5. Miami -3, Browns -4, Ravens -5.5, Seahawks -7, the Jags plus 1.5, Bears plus 6.5, Bucks -8.5, Denver -7.5, Rams -8, Bengals plus 5.5, Chiefs -3, Eagles -2.5. And those are my picks for week 14. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, and if you want to, leave a comment. Because if you have been following me for every single game so far this year for the first 13 weeks, you would be ahead for every single game. If you cherry pick the right ones, you're probably up ahead a lot, or you would be. So I will say this with all sincerity, is that I'm not horrible at this. I don't know what I'm talking about, most of the time. And I don't profess to say that I do. But I seem to do a pretty good job at, picking what's going to happen with these teams on these spreads. And, you dip your toes in it if you want. Continue to listen, share it out, leave comments, give me your feedback. I'd like to know, what you're thinking and what your thoughts are on the show and ways to improve it. If you just want to be negative, that's fine too. I can read the negative. It doesn't hurt me. But if you want to say something positive, great too. And if I've helped you out in any way, that's awesome. I'd like to hear it. But I'm on YouTube, I'm on Spotify, and I'm on Apple. Remember, I'm sitting at 54% so far, and I'm trying to get that percentage up a little bit more. And if this is good, then maybe I bring in some other sports because we got college football playoff coming up. We got championship week right around the corner. We've got NCAA basketball happening. Baseball is going to come up soon. We've got a lot of sports happening. Fantasy is about to go into the playoffs, and I think in all of my leagues, I think three of them we're going to be in the playoffs. One of them, I think we're in a rebuilding year. I'm in 3 dynasty leagues and then 1 weird redraft league. And at some point, maybe when we get into the playoffs, we'll talk about those or something like that. But, as it stands right now, 54%. Go like, go subscribe. Remember my picks. Do what you want with it. Let that change your mind or ride along, whatever floats your boat. But I hope you guys have a great weekend, great rest of your week. Go grab a drink, enjoy some football this week, And as always, I wish everybody the best. Good luck.